Exactly a decade and a half ago, a movie, nay, a cultural event, dared to ask the boldest of questions in a time where no one else would. Today, these questions still linger in my mind. Would you kill a room full of kids all for Natalie Portman? Who wouldn't? Would you carry Ewan McGregor on your back through an exploding ship as you climb up an elevator shaft? Of course, are you insane? Would you still trust your boss if he started looking and talking like a satanic serpent anytime? If he wanted me to kill a bunch of Jedi, how many? And last but not least, who the hell is this guy? Where's his face? How is he on the council but not Anakin, huh? Who is this guy? Someone tell me, I've been wondering for 15 years, who is he? Oh, his name is Coleman Kassaj. Kassaj? Oh, okay. Thanks, Wikipedia.
This is where the fun begins.
You know, a lot of people have been calling April and May of 2020 the slowest months of their lives, and yeah, it's probably in the running. You definitely got the months right, but the year should be, 2005. To this day, the two most agonizingly slow months I've ever experienced, all because I was waiting desperately for the coveted date of May 19th, 2005.
On May 19th, the Jedi must unite
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
to fight the ultimate battle. Crush them! Against the evil Sith Lord and his new apprentice, Darth Vader.
Oh, no.
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Rated PG-13.
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was the first movie I had anticipated and followed for years up until its release. As a second grader, I remember going on America Online version 9.0, I believe, going on MoviePhone.com and waiting for like an hour and a half as this clunky trailer for Revenge of the Sith played at like 240p frame by frame, and it blew me away. I would marvel at this kind of ugly-looking poster of Anakin donning a cape where the fabric resembled Vader's mask, and who could forget the Burger King frame-broiled packaging of all the merchandising telling us that, yeah, this movie was gonna have fire in it.
Viceroy, when my new apprentice, Darth Vader, arrives, he will take care of you.
Oh, we are so dead! The hype was unfathomable, and I was so ready. You see, I'd be entering the 3rd grade, and soon that meant I'd be a man. I knew once I finally saw Revenge of the Sith, once the story of the films I loved so much was complete, I could finally rest. Maybe settle down, start a family, learn high concepts like cursive and long division. The opportunities for me were quite endless. And finally, the day came. I remember rushing home from school, finding my pops, jumping up and down, take me, going to the theater, the lights going dim, getting shuffled to the second from the front row because the entire room was packed. I got a huge crick in my neck, having to look up constantly at this large screen towering over me. I remember the audience erupting into a large roar. I don't think I blinked once. I just sat there soaking in every frame of this movie. The twists, the turns, the action, the bird reptile things, grill face, the betrayal, the heartbreak, the booming orchestra, Yoda and the Emperor throwing shit at each other left and right. Oh my god, and before I knew it, it was all over. It was everything I wanted and more. I had lived to finish this. At that point, I'd only been alive for about 3,000 days. And that was all I needed. I could finally die. But you know, I've been living another 15 years now, and it's been pretty hit or miss for the most part, but that didn't stop me from thinking about Revenge of the Sith constantly after it came out. But okay, what were my initial impressions? Well, I was about 8 years old, so at the time I thought it was a masterpiece, but I do remember some things catching me off guard. One, General Grievous. Let's talk about this. You see, I had been watching the 2003 Clone Wars show in anticipation for Episode 3, and when this guy was introduced, I was like, who is this? This is insane, he's taking out Jedi left and right. No! And then when I found out he was going to be in the movie, Oh my god, I couldn't believe it. How are they gonna pull off this menacing robot claw monster thing? And when he did show up in the movie, his voice was different, he wasn't very imposing, and he was pretty cowardly. I remember being a little disappointed with that.
Time to abandon ship.
I think also a lot of people were expecting Darth Vader in his suit to show up like halfway through the movie. I mean, all the trailers showed that moment, the rise. No, not that one. Like, come on, that can't be the end of the movie. They wouldn't just show that in all the trailers with, oh, yep, they did. Like, if you watch all the TV spots for this movie and combine them into one mega cut, you pretty much have seen the whole movie. Other than that, I don't really remember having any major issues with the movie at the time. I don't need to really get into all the issues with the prequels. I mean, they've been discussed to death. I don't really have much to add to that conversation other than the impact that these movies had on me personally. So, I mean, 15 years later, I can't believe it. I mean, to this day, if we discount the original trilogy, Revenge of the Sith would easily be my favorite Star Wars movie. And yeah, it has its share of flaws, I'm not doubting that for a second, but this movie's just comfort food for me. It's like fucking Denny's in the morning of a hangover on a day where you have no other responsibilities.
There I am, Gary, there I am!
You know, I'll be flipping through channels on a lazy Sunday and oh shit, they got Revenge of the Sith with a TNT logo in the corner, sign me up! I've never seen that version. I can't even begin to count how many scenes and lines from this movie me and my friends have been regurgitating for the last decade and a half. It doesn't even have to make sense. We'll just be standing there, super quiet, nobody saying anything.
Well, have you noticed the shields are still up?
Sorry, Master.
You'll be playing tag with all your friends and finally the guy who's it corners you and for your last words.
Lord Sidious promised us peace. The only one.
Okay, if we compare the third movie of every Star Wars trilogy so far, you find by then you usually start to run into problems with the performances of the cast. Okay, as much as I love Return of the Jedi, you can kind of tell the acting feels a little less involved by then, excluding Mark Hamill. He had more to work with than everybody else. Everyone just kind of feels less than enthusiastic to be there anymore. Rise of Skywalker recently also suffered from this exact problem. It just feels tired by then. You could tell everybody's heart's not as in it as before. Revenge of the Sith, I feel, doesn't have this problem. This feels like the moment everyone was waiting for, the cast included. Yeah, the dialogue is super clunky in some scenes, but it feels like everyone's heart is in it this time. Very rarely is the third movie of any trilogy the best one, yet here we are. Okay, I'd also like to commend Hayden Christensen's performance in this movie. To me, he did an incredible job, and I can't really imagine anyone else in this role anymore. Seriously, I'd love to see him reprise this role again. I don't care if it's a flashback or that Kenobi show, please Disney. And yeah, that little cheap voice cameo in Rise of Skywalker doesn't count. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan is always a treat. Palpatine hams it up in this deliciously evil performance. He was just waiting forever to get back in that makeup, you could tell.
What kept you?
Natalie Portman as Padme sadly kind of suffers, simply because her character isn't given enough to do aside from be pregnant and be sad, and to die from sad. But she still does a good job with what she has to work with, I felt. 15 years later, though, how's this movie holding up? Well, visually, I really like how this movie looks. It has this very distinct, memorable style with all these different locales. It feels like it's lifted straight from concept art. But you see, that's also sort of the problem. Too many of these environments being all digital can be really hit or miss. Sometimes it really plays to the movie's benefit. For example, I love all the Utapau and Coruscant scenes, but sometimes this movie gets that Spy Kids 3D game over look in its eye.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Well, then you are lost!
Nothing is more jarring than when something that used to be groundbreaking and ahead of its time starts to really show its age. Something about that Polis Massa scene towards the end always makes me feel so old. Like, Jesus, there's only 2 real people in this shot, and it doesn't look anywhere as good as it used to. So yeah, Revenge of the Sith definitely has its issues. Some parts haven't aged the best, but it still holds up for me. One thing that's always cool is to see the events of Revenge of the Sith be used in other Star Wars stories to be this really dreadful plot device, like in Jedi Fallen Order or even more recently the Clone Wars. You're just watching these episodes knowing what's about to go down. It's just, it's so good, the sense of dread. Stuff like this just elevates this movie for me. It's like getting very good DLC for a game you really like 15 years after the fact. And speaking of games, I also gotta talk about all the other extended media we got for Revenge of the Sith. I mean, they went full out. You had the LEGO Star Wars game, which came out a whole month before the movie, and basically spoiled the entire plot, but in LEGO. Still a childhood classic of mine. Republic Commando also came out early that year and gave us some more insight into the personality of the clones. Great game. May 4th, 2005, we got the official Revenge of the Sith game, which again, spoils the entire movie, but even more so, with some actual clips from the film showing up. I mean, I guess they figured whatever, it's a prequel, everyone knows what happens anyway. We also got Battlefront 2 later that year, coming with a whole bunch of maps lifted straight from Revenge of the Sith. The campaign has these incredible Order 66 levels and that chilling narration. Ugh, fantastic.
Only to be met with the month after month of flesh-eating diseases, shrieking nocturnal predators, and other sights that haunt me to this day. Our only hope was Ayla Secura, our Jedi Commando. When her death came, I hope it was quick.
Now that I think about it too, Revenge of the Sith might be one of the most important movies of my life. Okay, hear me out. You see, like so many other people, watching the original Star Wars captured my imagination, sparked my interest in filmmaking, drove me to be a storyteller, yada yada yada. You've probably heard that from people a lot of times. But you see, when Revenge of the Sith finally came out on DVD, it came with all these crazy bonus features. I'm talking hours worth. They meticulously detailed everything from pre-production, post-production, art department. Every facet of making a movie is pretty much captured here to some extent, and it was super valuable to me as a kid. I'm surprised they don't use this more in film school. Seeing the process of how this movie was made be so well documented was life-changing for me. It really heightened my passion for film, and to have all that and to also have a great final product that I just loved watching, it's a real treat. Also, little fun fact, don't tell nobody. Ancient Young Junko's secret technique, did you know gaming? If you did this little input on your remote while watching the DVD, you get this sweet video of Yoda dancing. Look at him go!
That voice hard on my throat it is.
Again, I can't believe it's been 15 years. Revenge of the Sith is easily one of the most anticipated and important movies of my life, and I'll probably be enjoying it until the day I die, just like these people.
It's almost over for Star Wars fans about to experience the Revenge of the Sith. Details top our first 7 minutes.
Like this man. He's been in line for more than 30 hours.
The crowds, the people, the fun, sword fights, Xbox, Halo. Just ridiculous.
It's been great. It's been really fun. I didn't think camping out for a movie with a bunch of geeks would be that much fun, but I fit right in.
This has been Young Junko. Please leave your favorite Revenge of the Sith memories below if you have them. I'd love to hear them.
Another happy landing.
Obi-Wan told me terrible things.
Terrible like what? Like I got a terribly sweet deal in a kick-ass place floating in lava? You ever see his pad? It's dump.
He wants to help you.
Yeah, Obi-Wan tried to help me hook up my stereo system. I ended up with this. So, tell him no thanks. Spring, 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 spring.
They said you turned to the dark side.
Yeah, it's called the Tan. I live on a lava planet.
They said that you killed younglings.
Again, I killed at Younglings. Younglings Asian Comedy Club? The most kick-ass Asian comedy club in the galaxy. I got to try out my Jack Black impression. Dudes.
I don't know you anymore.
Dude, rock.